Hey everyone, it's Angie and welcome to another video. Today I'll be flipping through my sophomore sketchbook. I got this sketchbook around the end of 2015 from Barnes & Noble, and I remember my broke self trying to pay for it with only quarters. The cashier was so patient and actually ended up helping me with counting the money because I was just taking so long. After just a few uses, I fell in love with it because not only was the design super cute and inspirational, but I really liked the paper quality and how affordable it was and how it came with so many pages. To this day, I still really like the sketchbook. It's one of my favorite sketchbooks because of that. The front and back covers are of a famous painting called The Great Wave of Kaganawa, and I didn't even know about this painting until a few years later when I found a video on YouTube about it. And I learned a bit about the artist and how this painting is actually just one of the series of paintings about Mount Fuji. Surprisingly, it's actually not really about the wave itself, it's more about Fuji in the background, and this just made me love my sketchbook even more. I probably would buy this sketchbook again just because of the picture. The only downside to having the sketchbook was that the pages sometimes got jammed in the rings and it was a bit on the heavy side. I don't know how I used to carry it around school all the time. I'm not 100% sure when I started and finished the sketchbook exactly. There is just one date on one of the drawings, and I didn't even draw it, my friend from church did, and I always made her sign her drawings and the ones that she made in my sketchbook just for future reference. Looking back at this sketchbook, I realized I used to draw a ton of manga style characters, and I drew a lot of my own characters from my story, and I even made up comic strips of story ideas I had. I didn't do a lot of realism, but towards the end, there's a bit more stylized drawings and a drawing using a reference photo I found from Google before I knew Pinterest existed. And when I finished it, I thought it was the best drawing I've ever drawn. And compared to everything else I was drawing at the time, I think it was. I think it was almost like the drawing that got me to draw more realistically and use more references and photos to practice. Throughout the course of this sketchbook, I think a lot happened. I got Prismacolor alcohol markers for the first time. I had Copic markers before them, but it wasn't a complete set or anything, just the primary set, and they were harder to use because of lack of colors. But I got the manga Prismacolor marker set and I started playing with markers for a while. I remember when I was in middle school, there was a girl I met who brought her Copics to school, and she had a big bag of them, and I was just so amazed and honestly just a bit jealous because I knew how expensive they were and I really wanted my own. But when I got my own markers, it reminded me of that girl and also made me realize that everything comes at different times for people. I can't believe how many drawings I made of my own characters in this sketchbook. There's like only one drawing of an animal in here, and I just followed a book tutorial to draw it. And here's just a ton of unfinished sketches. Before, I didn't really care much about making my drawing look super perfect. At the time, I wasn't really into putting my art on Instagram. I would only post like every once in a while. I also got a wooden mannequin from Michael's, and I remember being super excited with trying to learn dynamic poses and proportion. I also got a how to draw book from my brother, which I fell in love with, and it was super pretty and cute, and I practiced drawing faces in different angles with it and trying to challenge myself to try and get better at drawing. So as you can see, there's a ton of variety of different things in this sketchbook, from really rough sketches and thumbnails, to drawings and inking exercises, and even unfinished ideas, and also just really bad art. But that's what really should make up a sketchbook. You shouldn't feel pressure to make every single page look like a finished masterpiece. It should be a place where you practice and take risks with trying new things, and even if the result ends up looking really trashy. Also, I hardly drew any male characters. I think I used to have days where I would challenge myself to only draw boys, but those challenges never stuck, and I would always go back to drawing girls. Something I did in this sketchbook that I really don't like was use an entire page for like a small drawing or just a portrait like on the side that hardly looked started. Looking back at this makes me feel like I wasted a lot of paper. Here are more proportion practices and some character drawings and more unfinished ideas and sketches. At the time, I had also been finding new artists on YouTube and watching videos on how to draw like a face. Here's that realistic portrait I mentioned earlier. I think it was like a turning point in my art because in the next sketchbook after this one, I made a lot more realistic portraits and used more references too. Comparing the wooden mannequin and using photo references to practice, I think that using photos helped me a lot more with improving my art. I think it made me try to focus on small details of a face and to make my drawings look more like the reference, and also using my pencil to shade better. But I also tried to enter a Pokemon drawing contest, and I made a sketch of what I would draw. I drew myself riding my favorite legendary Pokemon underwater and then transferred it to my iPad to paint it digitally. I didn't win, but I did have a lot of fun, and I ended up entering another drawing of myself and my favorite Pokemons, but colored it with color pencils instead. And in my opinion, I think the traditional drawing looks a lot nicer. And that's the end of this sketchbook tour. I loved looking back on this, and I can't wait to show you all the sketchbooks that I filled and all the drawings that I've made in them. I hope you enjoyed it too. Don't forget to check out my Instagram to see more art by me, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. See you in the next one, guys.